Hello friend, and welcome to Becca's Ratchet makeup tutorial. Today we are going to go over how to keep your eyeshadow from creasing. So I've already cleansed my face and moisturized. So next step is to prime. Today we're priming with the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. This is really good if you have oily skin. A lot of times even people without oily skin have really oily eyelids. For whatever reason, the skin on the eyelids just tends to be really oily, which makes eyeshadow crease really easily. So it helps to start out with something that will kind of, already kind of help prevent that process from happening. So yeah, we're just gonna prime all over our eyelids. So, got that all nice, and it like the primer is white, but it doesn't leave like a wet cast or anything on your skin, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use the leftover on my nose. I'm just doing eyeshadow layer, I guess just an eye look. I'm not gonna film like a whole face of makeup because we'd be here for like an hour, and like that's a lot, so just starting with eyes. So we have them primed. Next step that really helps me keep my eyeshadow from creasing, and again, like I have super ridiculously oily skin, so this helps me, is that I go with a little bit of some like translucent powder. I just use this like Rimmel Stay Matte from the drugstore. It's just it's really nice. It's like $4, and it's actually a really nice product. So I just go over what we primed with a little bit of this translucent powder, and there's that. So this is what we have going on right now. Next, we need to give the eyeshadow something to stick to. So we have primer, and then we added powder on top of the primer as an extra buffer from the oil. So next we need to give the eyeshadow something to stick to. So the best thing that I found is just like use a little bit of concealer. You don't need to actually use an eyeshadow primer. I mean, you can, but it's kind of unnecessary to me. Like concealer to me works even better than an eyeshadow primer. So the one that I really like to prime my eyelids with is this LA Girl Pro Conceal. It's like, again, like $2 or $3. It is not anything of any great expense, but it does kind of have a weird applicator, so I don't really like to use, because it's like a brush, and I don't like to use that, so I just kind of like squeeze whatever out, and then I usually use my finger. If you want to actually be correct, you would use like a flat synthetic brush like this one there's fuzz, to like apply your concealer to your eye. But again, this is Becca's Ratchet tutorial, so we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna use God's makeup brushes, which are fingers. So we're just gonna go over, we already did with some concealer, and we just kind of want to like tap it out. And again, we're just giving the eyeshadow a nice base to stick to after we've already added our oil prevention products. And you don't have to use like exactly these products, but like, I mean, the principle or you know, is the important thing. It's the, you know, you want to use like a mattifying primer, you want to use a translucent powder. You know, you don't have to use these exact products. That's just kind of, that's up to you. So I like to keep a little baby wipe or makeup wipe handy to, you know, get the excess off, so I don't get makeup everywhere, because that's a struggle for me. All right, so we have our concealer on our eyelids, so this is kind of what we are working with right now. So I'll just kind of go over, make sure the edges are kind of blended out, not like a total like harsh line, you know what I mean? So here is where we kind of get into more of a like personal preference of like whether you would like to of like the order of applying your eyeshadow. So like I'm using this palette. I just got it from Morphe. It's the Nikita Dragon palette. We love to support a transgender sister, so and it's a beautiful palette. You would love it. There's like lots of sparklies and a lot of color, and there's a good amount of neutrals too, so you can kind of create like whatever. But this is what I'm playing with today. So some people like to go over their concealer or their eyeshadow base with like a matte you know, like a white or an off-white or next to white matte shadow shade. I don't like to do that because I like I want like the intensity of the color directly onto, you know, this nice tacky base that we just put on. So if you want to go for a softer look, apply this all over the lid first. If you want to go for more of a dramatic look, which is typically, you know, like, have you met me? Duh, that's what I do. So the drama. So then you'll just go in straight. So that's what we're gonna do. So again, I don't use those awfully heinous little sponges that come in some of those like drugstore eyeshadow things. Those are terrible. Don't use those, please. Please, for the love of, if you take one thing out of today, out of this whole tutorial, it's don't use those little sponge applicators, for the love of God. They're just useless. They waste your product. They fall apart. They disintegrate. They're terrible for the environment. Don't do it, okay? All right, thank you. Invest a couple of dollars into some makeup brushes. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow brushes. It's from Wet n Wild. You can either get it from the Wet n Wild like website, you can get it from like Walmart, Target, or most of the time I actually buy these from the Dollar Tree. This like exact one from the Dollar Tree, just, it's what I do. Anyway, all right, so first things first, we want to go in with a it's called a transition shade, but it's basically just a matte color that we're gonna put in the crease, our eyelid crease, right? So like to fill up that space. So what do I want to do? We're gonna do this nice army green shade right here, and we just kind of tap our brush. You don't need to get crazy. And then we just kind of, so before you like actually do apply it, we want to like stamp out any pre-existing creases with our finger, so we're not putting eyeshadow on top of creases, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right, next we'll go in with our transition shade right in the
And we're just kind of stamping it on, and then we're gonna go back and forth in like windshield wiper motions. And then we want to really build up that color on the outside, like the outer half of the eye, which is gonna help us look more awake, and it's gonna give the illusion that our eyes are bigger than they are. So kind of just build that up, just tap it out. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Tap out any of the creases in the concealer, and then go right in, stamping that on, and then windshield wiper motions. Tap, tap, tap. Go back in, pick up a little bit more color. And these eyeshadows are pretty pigmented. They're really pigmented, and especially for the price, they're amazing. Like this entire palette was like $24, I think. Plus you can use the coupon code and get 10% off, so it's worth it. It's worth it. Bang for your buck, man. That's what I'm here for. All right. Okay. So we're looking a little patchy, so I'm just gonna fix it here in the mirror. It's kind of hard for me to like look in my phone camera and actually get stuff like exact. So, all right. Kind of fix the patchiness. We're blended out relatively okay. All right. Here we go. So the reason why we put matte shades in the crease as our transition is because glitter shades, like any sort of like shimmer or glitter or anything like that, is the formula of the eyeshadow has more oil in it naturally. So it's going to crease easier. Like it's going to crease a lot easier than a matte shade will. So we use matte. That's why we use matte shades in the crease, and then we can use glitter, shimmer, whatever on the lid itself, and then we can use shimmer on the brow bone as well. So it's kind of like a shimmer sandwich, if you will. Okay, so next, let's go in with a nice, pretty. We're gonna go in with this kind of like bronzy gold shade right here, and I always apply shimmers with my finger. Again, like I apply mattes with the brush, I apply shimmers with the finger. Whatever, just don't use a sponge, okay? That's all I ask, is don't use those like stupid little cosmetics. Don't do it. Fingers are recyclable. All right, so we just kind of like swirl it in there, swirl it in the shade, pick up some, and then this part we go in the middle to outer, okay? And you see how it's sticking really nicely to the concealer that we put down. Okay, so we're getting good color payoff. And it'll even stick to the matte formula as well, because we did put on a good solid base. And you can kind of bring this up like into your crease a little bit, like over the matte shade, but what we don't want to do is put shimmer or glitter directly onto the crease without a matte shade underneath it, if that makes sense. Okay, I hope this is clear as mud, because I feel like I'm kind of talking in a circle. It's weird talking to yourself. Whatever. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. Okay. Alright, so what we have, and I'm gonna add a little bit more on this side. Okay, so we have a nice matte shade and we have sparkles, okay? So we just kind of kept that shade in the middle. So what we're gonna do next, and this is just kind of like the technique that I like, you can use the same shade all over, like the same, you know, shimmer, glitter shade all over from, you know, inner corner to outer corner. I like to use 3 different shimmer shades because it makes my eyes look bigger and more sultry. So next we want to add a darker shade to the outside. Again, we want the outer corner of the eye to be the darkest point. We want the inner corner to be the lightest point. So I'm gonna go in with this shade, this like brown shimmer shade that's next to what we just went over, or what we just used, and I'm gonna put that on the outer corner. And blend it in with our other shimmer shade that we placed out there. And this is when you can kind of get creative with like whatever eye shape you want. If you want to do like a round eye shape, or you know, like sometimes I like to do like a more blown out like cat eye shape. That's really what I've been liking doing lately because of like the masks, not being able to wear lipstick, or you know, kind of having that fun element. I just really bring the drama on the eyes because that's what people see. So all right, we are looking choppy AF, but I promise we'll fix this and it'll turn out. All right, so next we want to put the lightest shade in the inner corner. We'll go in with this kind of, it's like a white shimmer shade. Here we'll go in with that one. Again, with the finger, I wiped it off on my baby wipe. So, and then we're just gonna place that in the inner corner and blend it over the other middle shade. All right, and then we kind of want to bring it up and over so it again gives it a nice cohesive look, so it doesn't just look like 3 separate eyeshadows. I'll do the same on the other side. Blend it out. All right. Now we have like all of our colors on. Now we're gonna kind of fix the hodgepodge that we have. Again, I don't do this the most technically well, but it gets the job done, and it gets it done relatively quickly, I think. So we have that. Okay, I'm gonna set this palette aside for now, but I am gonna keep it open just over here to the side. All right, so that's what we have. So I'm gonna go use the same brush again. I'm just gonna kind of like wipe it off on my baby wipe a little bit, just to kind of get any of the excess color off. And again, you don't have to spend a lot of money on brushes. I like the Wet n Wild ones just fine. Elf makes good ones too. Elf makes a better variety of like shapes and sizes, but I like the quality of the Wet n Wild ones the best, but they don't have as many different kinds, so you're kind of just stuck with, you know, one basic blender shape. So I'm just gonna go in and kind of blend together and blend out the edges of kind of what we have going on here. So So I'm gonna go out and blend out the edges of this brown here. So we're softening, and again, I'm gonna kind of use my finger too to kind of blend into the process. And on the other side, soften the edges, kind of give us the shape that we want. Alright, and then I just use like my fingers to kind of clean up the like lower edge. I'm gonna just tap in and make sure that color's in there. And then kind of lastly, I'm gonna go over with this middle shade again and just clean up the edges of where the middle shade merges with these other two. And then we're gonna add a highlight to the brow bone, so a little bit more of a light shimmer, but we don't want it to be as icy as our inner corner shade. We want it to kind of be a little bit softer, a little bit warmer. So I'm just gonna go in with this other, this is like it's just a cheap like little eyeshadow palette. I got it off of Hush, so it's not the best quality, but it's actually kind of nice, and I like the color story of it. So I'm just gonna go in with this shade. It's a little bit more of a champagne-y, so it has a little bit more of like the gold, pinky gold to it. It's not the straight gold or the like icy white that's in the Nikita palette. So I'm just gonna go in again with my finger and tilt my head back so the light hits my brow bone. And I'm just gonna give myself a little highlight on the brow bone. A little highlight on the brow bone right underneath your eyebrow. There you go. So I am going to put on some eyebrows. I'm gonna put on some mascara and kind of like finish out this look. And then I'll give you like some couple more ways to help your eyeshadow to last all day. So BRB. And we're back. So I went ahead and filled in my eyebrows, and I put on some mascara, and I just cleaned up the like a very outer edge with my little baby wipe. I just went like that way. It's not like, because when you bring your eyeshadow down too far, you start to look you actually look sad. Like you start to look sad. That's the best way I can describe it. So I just want to give you kind of a better lighting look at what we did. So you know, now that like, you know, all of the makeup's on, the last thing we want to do is we want to set it all in place so it stays all day. So the best thing to do is to use a setting spray. Now again, it's best to use like a matte setting spray, because eyelids, again, you know, you've told me before you have your skin leans more oily, so use a mattifying setting spray. My two favorites are this one from Urban Decay. It's the all-nighter setting spray, but it's the D-Slick one. It's not the regular all-nighter, it's called D-Slick. Now I love this. It's a fairly big bottle. It's like, I mean, it's 4 ounces, but it's, you know, fairly big as far as setting sprays go. However, it's $35 a bottle, so that's quite expensive. So I don't expect you to, you know, run right out and, you know, like drop a lot of cash on all these products. So while I do love this one is my absolute favorite. Another one that is very good that you can get from the drugstore for like, you know, $8-10 is this one from Milani. It's called the Make It Last, and it's the matte one. It's not even the regular one. You want to go for the matte one. So that way it kind of helps soak in the oils all day long, keeps your eyeshadow from creasing. So you always want to give it a good shake. As we have established, you're much better at shaking these than I am. And then you just kind of want to hold it like about 10 inches or so away from your face. Close your eyes. Give a couple good spritz, and then kind of try to keep your eyes closed while you kind of dry it. It's really humid here today. It's been really dry, but now like all of a sudden it's humid again. So it's like Houston has returned. Oh, all right. So yeah. There we go. There is our final eye look. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. If you need me to explain anything better or in better detail, or if you have any other questions, you know where to find me. All right. Love you, girly. Bye.